Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
The next time terrorists
Captain?
rear their ugly heads,
Hadrian?
UC is going to be ready.
It would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed, first, we're going to need someone to convince the Free Star Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We see your atypical background as a strength, not a hindrance. The people you'll be dealing with, they're rather atypical themselves. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
We should add that artifact to the collection as soon as possible.
Yes, I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data.
This was a good outing. One step closer. I'd be happy to carry a few things for you. Until later.
Just doesn't add up. Spaceport has anti-Xena protocols.
Chief Yassine, these orders. A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency. and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
Very funny. This is going to be hard enough already. Both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code. Huh. Well, if that's the case, I'll wait to be pleasantly surprised. But we do have one item up our sleeve. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you.
Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again, though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval. It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmore's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, This device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Captain, can I help you?
This space is a
You ever hear that one about the orphan and the platypus?
Hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the Collective, and it seems like only yesterday.
You are a visitor? You'll find the ambassador in our office. Go on through.
I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective, but you lead, and I'll follow.
Terramorphs? As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Guests can make themselves comfortable in the lobby.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? What are you? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. Oh, stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance, one, to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. I suppose you might be right. Easy to lose sight of the big picture sometimes. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the following concessions. Your access will be limited. You can only take out the items related to stopping these terramorphs. The monitors will make sure of it. You go in once, you get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight. Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
Official business? Talk to the ambassador.
They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. Don't make me regret this, Captain. It's not supposed to be a long process. It is for emergencies, after all. Here, I'll reach out to Deputy McIntyre. We'll coordinate the necessary oversights. Two unlikely allies, I guess. People often mistake rivals for enemies. We don't have to like each other to do the right thing.
Sorry, but I need sign-off from
The Freestar Collective. A collective of snakes.
Exactly. It's like when someone insults you.
It's a shame House Varun abandoned their embassy. I bet we could have learned a lot from one another.
Are you working toward that next technological leap?
Can you imagine how many credits flow through this place? Figuratively, of course. This isn't what I expected at all. It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy.